Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm your host, Rob Younts, and thank you so much for tuning back into the Cane Cast Show. If today's your first episode, you are in for a doozy. If you've been with us before, we really appreciate you coming back. But either way, today's guest is a Canes alum and a friend of John Cena. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask a big favor of you. Help us grow this show. First of all, give us a like. Smash that like button. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast host, give us a like. 2, drop a comment. Lets us know what you like and don't like about our show. 3, help us grow the community by subscribing. This lets others know that this show is legit. Plus, you'll never miss an episode. 4, show us some love with a review. 5, share it. Send this episode to your friends, enemies who are missing baseball right now. Everybody needs a baseball fix. Today's guest is none other than Cleveland Indians left-handed pitcher Logan Allen. He's a Canes alum who is deeply rooted in his family, which easily explains why he is a fan favorite. He's one of the winningest pitchers we've ever had. We even struggled to find a loss in a game he pitched while wearing a Canes uniform. Logan brings the heat with some hilarious Canes memories, his take on MLB trades, and his own development since he's been in Cleveland. This episode is a grand slam of insight, knowledge, humor, and great advice for parents and players. So let's get right to it. Here's Logan.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Rob Younts here with King Cash Show. Another awesome episode and a really guest today with the Indians of Cleveland via the Padres, via the Red Sox too. Our guy Logan Allen. Logan, how the heck are you, buddy?
I am great, Yountsy. It's good to see you and Jeff. It's been a little while.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, and there's Jeff Petty too. We got Jeff with us as always, co-host and baby, what is it, diaper changer extraordinaire right now, right? How's that going?
Oh my gosh, I forgot. You're like dad, Brooke, and newborn. What is going on?
I got 3 now, but hey, we were off camera here before we started recording, and Logan took a shot at how big my head is. And
Oh no, that was a Yountsy, but yours is big too.
oh, you were talking about Yancey?
Yes.
Well, what's worse? What's worse? What is worse?
Hey, thanks, Logan. I appreciate that.
Honest. Let's be honest. What's worse, Yancey's head or my head or your hair?
Probably my hair, but you know what? I have a job where people think this is cool for whatever reason.
Yeah.
As long as I keep throwing fastballs past people, I can shave my head and, I don't know, glue it to my face if I want. It doesn't matter.
There you go. I hear you, man.
That's
I'm just going to look at your.
point.
I'm not going to look at your eyes during this entire thing. I'm just going to stare at you.
just right at the hair.
God, Jeff
I'm just
always
jealous.
has so
I'm
much
jealous.
in common
I'm
with
just-
my mother.
I'm jealous. I'm just jealous that I can't grow anything like that. That's what's
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those days are gone.
You should hear the things my mom calls me when she sees my head like this. If you could only imagine the stupid things she calls me when we're not on a live camera.
How is Mama A doing, by the way?
Oh, she's good. She's good. She's in North Carolina missing her baby. She hasn't seen me in a long time, so she's tripping out. But she's doing good. In fact, yesterday she started doing a TikTok with my little brother, so my life's officially over. But she's good, man. She's just waiting for.
So
this to
she's
be
on
over.
TikTok?
This is ball. Apparently, yeah. With
I
my
haven't
little
even.
brother.
I refuse.
Don't do it. It's a trap.
I'm not
It
doing
is a trap.
I'm out.
It is.
Do it.
Your Instagram is enough for me, Logan, with your the camera eats first and all that good stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
You're
Trademarking it.
I know, right? You know what? It's great that we lead this off with your mom because, you know, one of the things we've always talked about, you know, you've been with us, gosh, several years. You know, you were with us, started at 15, was it? Tell us about your Canes journey.
All right. Well, I came from a small team in North Carolina, and I hopped over to the Canes. I think the guy that had connected me with Jeff was a guy named Connor Lind. I think that's who had originally connected me with Evo Shield. And I think my first tournament with you guys was with Connor and one of the, like, I can't remember where in Virginia. It might have been Richmond. I'm trying to think of where it was. We played all those schools and stuff. But then my first big chance with you guys was the 16U wood bat. Was the first time I'd ever been to Atlanta. It was one of the most. That's the first time I've gotten chills on a baseball field. Was playing in that tournament with Batch and you and all them, and I think I threw a no hitter. That was like the first tournament you guys see me. I threw a no hitter in one of the round robin games. Then we winded up winning. I think the championship game was at Laster High School. I think that's where it was.
Yeah.
I remember that right.
Then we got on a plane.
That's right.
Went to Arizona together.
Yeah. Then I was getting ready to go home, and Jeff's like,
That's the first time you've ever been on I think that's the first time that you had ever were allowed to like go off alone, right?
Yeah. My mom was like, "That's not happening." And I like looked at her, and she looks at Jeff. She goes, "Anything happens to him, I promise you're dead." Yeah. So my mom was. I think we just left. We went back to the hotel. I was getting ready to go home, and Jeff was like, "No, we're gonna stay the night. Me, you, and Junior Harding." Because Junior was there too. Because Junior was still young for his age, I think.
Right.
Right. That's right.
So me and all of us, we flew to Arizona and played in that 17U Arizona
PG World Series.
PG World Series. That was it. Yeah, that was dope. That's where I like met Grant Holmes and a lot of those other families and a lot of the older players that you see on all the ranking things, and you're like, wow, like what would it be like to throw 100 at age of 17, stuff like that. And that was pretty incredible. We won that too through the championship game, and it was it was against South Florida Elite. I still remember all that.
It was the elite squad.
Elite squad, yeah. And we're sitting there, and we went through all of our pitching in the Final Four because there was a chance I wasn't even going to pitch at all. It was more for the experience that I was there at all. And I think we threw Jake Latz or something like that, and the other guy that went to LSU with him, the Final Four. And then we get to the championship game, and we're like, well, who do we got to start? Jeff goes, you're starting.
We had nobody left.
We got nobody left.
No, you were there. You were there really as just kind of, like you said, an experience. You were playing up a class. Man, you pitched your rear end off, man. You had those
awesome.
Guys. Guys so frustrated, man, because I remember their 3-hole hitter. Who was it? It was a dude.
It wasn't Infante. It was I know who you're talking about.
But
Infante was there, but
in his third at bat when he popped up on another changeup, I remember him screaming down the first base line, "Throw me a fastball!"
Yeah, dude. I was just flipping stuff in there. I was throwing like 80 poo, and these guys are just losing their minds. I think I punched out one guy or two guys the whole. I might not have punched out anybody.
A lot of ground outs, a lot of fly balls.
Yeah,
we were playing at a big league stadium. We were playing in the stadium you're in now.
Yeah, we were playing at Goodyear Ballpark. Yeah, that's wild. That's crazy. Yeah, because we had Troy Stokes in center. It was 110 degrees.
Yep.
It was awful. And then I remember getting 2 outs or maybe one out in the 7th, and then Meat came in and shut the door.
He sure did.
Sick.
We had him available, but only for like one.
Yeah, because he had thrown his.
We were rolling on fumes.
We'd have been throwing position players. DJ Burt would have had to come in and throw.
That was pretty neat. You're dropping all those names here. You're talking about all those guys that you played with, even at 15 and 16, and now you're running into them in pro ball. I mean, I think that's pretty darn cool. I know, right? Yeah, we talked to guys like Seth Manus and Jake Cave and all those guys, guys that kind of came to the Canes before you. And same thing, they're running into all these guys, and it's just neat to see. And we were talking off camera about how you stay in touch with those guys, like Danny Blair, LT Tolbert, Cody Morris, and Cody's in the Indians with you now.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, man. You don't understand how many Canes I see on a regular basis, whether it's on social media. I mean, pitching against Troy. I pitched against Troy for a good bit when he was the Brewers, so he was in Wisconsin at the time. I see DJ, Nolan, Watson, Ash, Cody, DJ Burt, LT, obviously, who had a bang-up year last year. Stephen Bangram in the offseason. I mean, when they were at Tampa, I mean, I see literally.
They're winning a national championship there, right?
Yeah, dude, that was awesome. I mean, you're seeing everybody, and it kind of just shows that, like, just the background of what being a Cane is. You know, there's so many other travel kids I've seen that I played with growing up, and it was like anytime you played with the Canes, you knew that they were going to do something. They were going to go somewhere. You were going to remember them for something baseball wise, no matter what it was. It could have been just for one thing. I mean, I remember, even Tim Salvador I talked about. My most vivid memory of him is him crawling on the ground at Lake Point with like bats and stuff, making a sniper and doing all these weird things because he didn't pitch with us all that much. He'd pitch some here, some there. He kind of just filled in where he needed to, but it was just like moments like that you like remember forever. So when he texts you and calls you, it just makes you laugh. I mean, it's just one of those things. It wasn't like you played with him one time and never saw him again. But it was cool.
No
Right,
doubt.
that is pretty cool. So that took you to you went from your high school in North Carolina, and then you moved to IMG. Tell us a little bit about that experience. How'd you enjoy that? How did that help you in your development?
I loved it, man. So I was obviously at a smaller school in North Carolina. Very nice very pretty solid baseball school. Just we had some differences with the coaching staff up there about me being a pitcher versus an outfielder. Apparently, this guy thought I was just an outfielder, and I think pretty much anybody else who had two eyes and a brain knew that I wasn't going to play outfield after high school. So I made the move down to Florida. I had a good opportunity to go down there, and then that was my junior year. It was awesome. They were building this new baseball stadium. The school was like a college setup. It was insane. Right near the beach. I was in Bradenton, and it was even better because I was closer to the places I could play, like showcase ball and stuff in Florida and all that stuff with you guys. So it made it pretty easy. Now I didn't get to make all the big tournaments up north, but I was able to make the big ones down south. So that was cool. And then my senior year when I went there, I got to take, I had LT and Danny Blair and Ryan Karstetter. All about Ryan Karstetter come down with me to Florida as well.
Right.
So I had 3 of our dudes that were on the Canes with me going down to play high school ball with me. And it was unbelievable, the team we had down in Bradenton.
That was a really good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy
not
part is
bad.
they've only gotten better every year.
I know.
No
right?
doubt. They're really good.
So, all right, that's your time in through the Canes. Tell us a good Jeff Petty story. We've had all the guys on that had a good Jeff Petty story. Do you have any?
I got plenty. I mean, way too many. I mean, I got some that him losing his mind in the dugout. I love when a coach on the other side tries to talk to one of us or something, because Jeff just loses it because the coach will just say something because we're obviously 9 times out of 10 the teams we played, by the 3rd inning the kids are ready to crawl up in a ball and go back to wherever it is they came from. It was almost embarrassing, and it was just awful until we played some of the better teams. But it was awful. And for my favorite things Jeff's ever done, besides all the cool like buses and stuff, I used to love when he'd get on the mic and stuff in the buses, or he'd fall asleep on the bus. That was my favorite, and he'd always think it was somebody else. But we're winning, but we barely won a game. I think we won like 4-3 over some slap team that we should have absolutely run-ruled. And we get on the bus, and I'm in the back of the bus with like Tolbert, me, a few other guys. LT thinks it's funny to crawl up in the LT decides to crawl up in the thing where you put your luggage and stuff because there's no barriers between them. So he's in the back of the bus, and he crawls all the way up to the front of the bus in the thing. And he's messing around, and we're laughing we're just laughing. We're laughing, and we obviously it was one of those times you're on the bus.
Well, our strength coach
kept
getting hit in the back. Are you getting to that? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to take the story.
So we're in the back of the bus, and we were obviously messing with Rob Helmick. I think his name was Rob. I'm trying to remember. Yep. Yeah, and Rob was he was a strength coach, but God, he just gave us the Paul Blart Mall Cop vibe all the time. What was he really gonna do? If he told me to do 10 push-ups and I told him no, what's he gonna do? It was one of those things. So we'd always mess with him. It was like the substitute teacher you knew you could just wreck in whatever way you wanted. So we let him get up. We gave LT we gave LT sunflower seeds, like a whole bag, and he opens up the thing at the top and he's just darting Rob and closing the thing. And Rob's turning around, and Rob has this lisp too, and he just gets up, turns around, just screams like, "Who did that? Stop throwing it!" He's freaking out. And then Jeff gets up and gets super serious. And I'm literally crying. I literally almost peed in my baseball pants. I was laughing so hard. And he starts going off. He's like, "Hey, you want to call up Coach Holbrook? What would Coach Holbrook say?" And he starts going through. I mean, we had a lot of commits on that team. He listed every head coach that we had on the entire bus. He went from freaking South Carolina to Virginia Tech to State College of Florida Community College or whatever. Listed all of them and was like going through everybody. What would he say? You think it's funny? LT opens the thing, goes, "Nah, coach, not funny at all." And Jeff's trying to keep a straight face, like he's trying to like still act mad, but you can see at the same time he's like, "Okay, that's kind of funny." But I've never seen Jeff ready to tell me he was either going to stop the bus and make us get off, or he was going to stop, get off, and go to a bar. I couldn't believe it because the bus got super silent after that because we blamed it on LT. We're like, "Yeah, LT, we told you not to do it." And LT's getting pissed at us.
That's a good story.
My favorite part was just the fact that he could crawl in there. I didn't think he was ever going to be able to get all the way up there. He went from the back of the bus by the bathroom all the way to the front. It was incredible.
That story has been told a lot. That is a great story.
Oh,
and Helmick was so mad.
He was angry. He was an angry elf, as it was. But it was just the fact that if I did that now, could you imagine if I'm on my way to Yankee Stadium on the road and I sneak up to the front of the bus and start tickling the back of Machado's head last year or something? Just "Hey, Manny," from the top of the thing.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
I'm jobless. Like,
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're all jobless right now, but
yeah, you guys pushed the envelope. But one thing, that group of guys, man, y'all won a lot.
We didn't lose, but here's the problem: we pushed the envelope. We would make it a little interesting, and that was the part
y'all were
that
tough
drove
to
me
coach.
crazy.
Y'all were tough. I loved all of you guys, but it was like a circus act.
Like here's the thing: you would say that though. You would tell us how much you loved us, and then you like, "But you guys are the worst team to coach on the face of the earth. I don't even want to coach you guys." No, it was to the point where our third, Jeff was our third base coach, and he'd be like, "You know what? No, like someone else go out there. I don't want to do this." Because we would blatantly ignore the bunt sign or something, and then somebody would go deep, and Jeff's like, "You know what? I give up. Like I can't."
Yeah, on the field,
ignore it.
On the field was fun, but man, y'all were a wild card.
I'm glad you guys didn't do that at 16 because y'all were easy to coach at 16. I think you were the young,
just scared.
Yeah, the young babes in the woods. You had Greg over there and me and Batch, and I think you guys were just getting your feet
you
under
and Batch, we could have done this. We could have done the same thing to you and Batch, but old Greg O'Connor, I wasn't sure if anything we did to scare him would give him a heart attack. It was to that point. We weren't sure. Right. It was close. I love Greg. He was awesome, but it was hit or miss on how much torture he could take from us.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Well, you know what? The one thing is like, as you've learned is winning cures a lot. You know, winning takes care of a lot of things. So, you know, I think if you guys weren't winning, I think that bus ride would have gone a little bit differently. So let's talk about the draft a little bit because, you know, you had a scholarship in hand at South Carolina and, you know, draft comes around, you know, what were your thoughts around that? And fill us in a little bit about that. Educate us.
Well, at the time, as a 17, 18-year-old kid, all you can think about is like, who's going to take me? Am I going to be a first rounder? Everybody wants to be a first rounder. Everybody wants to be a first rounder. Also, contrary to popular belief, not everybody can be a first rounder because everybody you talk to says they're going in the top 3 rounds. I said that. I used to say it all the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm an easy top 3 round pick. All the stuff I've done, all the accomplishments I had, check your perfect game rating. And, you know, I was pretty highly ranked at that point. But, you know, when you sit down and look at it, there's so many other things that went into the draft process. We had some issues with people thinking because I was at IMG that I would sign for anything, things like that, dealing with family, trying to decide, like having my family bought into the fact that I wanted to play professional baseball and forego my college scholarship. Also having a really good, having almost a full scholarship to go play at the University of South Carolina, an amazing school, great business program. It was an unbelievable opportunity. So when draft day came around, we obviously are sitting around like, okay, what's going to happen? You hear your rumors, you hear this, you hear that, but you know, my phone called. My phone didn't ring the first day. At least to me, my advisor had some phone calls at the time for money that he thought wasn't worth it, and I thought might have been worth it. But you know, obviously my parents and stuff want to make sure that I'm securely taken care of. And you know, I eventually had called. I had let go of my advisor. I had told him that I wanted to do this on my own. I didn't need an advisor right now. Not that he was a sneaky or a bad person. It just wasn't going to work out. And Jeff had warned me about that kind of thing when I was with the Canes, and I'd wished I listened a little bit. So I called Tom Kochman, Casey Kochman's dad, and the Red Sox scout I was very close to had seen me since I had started with the Canes, and had said, you know what, man, I want to play professional baseball. I don't know what you guys are hearing, that I'm unsignable, but I want to sign. I want to play. And they put second round money together and drafted me in the 8th round. And from that moment on, it was just foot on the gas pedal. It was awesome. And it really structured the fact for me that it didn't matter what round you went in, it didn't matter how much money you got, that results matter. And that's the one thing with the Canes I had done every year was if we just focused on winning, finding ways to win, everybody looks better. Everybody gets the recognition, the opportunities, the rating, the rankings, whatever it is. Winning cures a lot. I mean, and the draft process wasn't something I necessarily won, but what I did with the Canes and how I got to that point, me being able to call a scout and say, hey, like I'm a winner, I want to play pro baseball, and then writing me a check right there on the spot says a lot about what playing with the Canes proved to them. So that was the draft process is not an easy one unless you're Mackenzie Gore. It's not an easy one, but it was definitely worth it at the end to figure out that, hey, okay, I'm foregoing college. Obviously, the call I had to make to Espo and Coach Holbrook was a tough one. It's one you have to kind of grow up and be a man and say, hey, I've decided to go elsewhere, and they're not going to like it. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. They're not going to like it. And the next hardest phone call for me was to the teammates that I played with that were going to South Carolina. You know, I had Danny Blair and LT Tolbert, who we were going to live together. We were going to do everything together. And they were obviously high in the draft too. And they had they each got drafted, but they had both turned down their significant amount of money to go play at South Carolina. I didn't. So the phone call to them was pretty tough. You know, two guys you had grown up with and played with, and then had to give that phone call and let them know that, you know, you're going to go play pro baseball and try to live out your dream. Now, as far as my parents go, they obviously, college was a big deal for them. And I told them that I can always get my college degree. There's a college scholarship program involved in all of our contracts at a high school. So that made them comfortable with it. And 2 hours later, I was in the Fort Myers representatives had come up to take me to dinner. And 2 days later, I flew out to Fenway and signed my contract with Andrew Benintendi.
Really cool. Really cool. So you have, I think you had one outing with him with Lowell. Is that correct? Or did you throw the whole?
Yeah, so I pitched I had a ridiculous rookie ball season. I pitched in the GCL, which was in Fort Myers. I pitched in Fort Myers, and then I went to Lowell for one start, and then I went to Greenville, and I sat there. I didn't pitch. They got eliminated from the playoffs before I could help. And then I went to the Dominican Republic, and we went to the Boca Chica, which was where the Red Sox complex was. They wanted us to get familiar with the Dominican players and learn how they live. Well, at that time, Boca Chica the Red Sox complex was the worst complex in all of the Dominican. No hot water, no air conditioning.
Wow.
It was like bunk beds and wooden lockers, and they were like hoarding toilet paper. Players would take the rolls because they were scared they weren't going to have any. I mean, it was sad.
Like, how would you have kept
your
air clean? Right?
Yeah.
I think I had monkeys pick through it. I think that's what we did. We went and grabbed a monkey, just started picking through it. Hey, at this point, I had like no hair. I was still doing the whole "it was cool to buzz your hair" thing. I still did that. Oh my gosh, who I was with at that point? I completely forgot all about that. You guys remember Andrew Noviello?
Yeah.
The old
Novi,
jokester?
Yeah.
The class clown? Yeah, him and I were in the Dominican together. And let me tell you, there was no one more miserable than that man.
Oof.
Straight out of Boston, straight New Yorker, just hated it. We shared a locker. Our first day opening the locker, there was 2 tarantulas big enough to put a leash on and take for a walk sitting inside our locker.
Doesn't sound fun.
Dude, that's so
out.
luxurious.
Oh, it was awful. But it gets better. It gets better. But we open it up and the locker and tell one of the clubhouse manager, the grounds manager, because all these places were on their grounds. Like, you'd have to walk downstairs and there's the field. He came in, he grabbed one in each hand and walked him outside like it was a pet. It looked like he just grabbed him like it was no problem. And then after that, they had told us that they wanted us to condition with the team. We didn't have to pitch. We just had to kind of be a part of it. And at 4:30 in the morning, they're waking us up. They had them running at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I had no idea. I didn't even expect that coming. I'm like still deep in sleep, and they're coming in, waking us up. Hey, it's time to condition. I had more rice and beans. It was awful. I had more rice and beans than I could have imagined the first week and all that. And then they started taking us to cool places. They took us to Santo Domingo to go to the mall where it looked just like it does in the United States. Then they took us to Bayaibe, which is a 2-hour boat ride from Santo Domingo, Punta Cana, all the way to this island, this private island, and you stay there all day, and then it takes you back. So that part was like really seeing the cool part of the Dominican. But as far as the complex, it was miserable. And then the next year, they built a new one, so it was wild. But by the time I got back to the States, which was 6 months later, or 6 weeks later, I was there for 6 weeks. 2 days after I got back from the States, I got traded for Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah,
I mean, like that. And it was crazy exciting, but it was like, really, I just went to the Dominican for 6 weeks and slaved away down there, and you guys decided to trade me?
Right. You wish you could have maybe you could have skipped out on that trip before you got dealt.
Yeah, I mean, I was so frustrated, but I had no idea that the rule had changed. There was a rule that you couldn't be traded within your first year of your contract, and they changed it, and they called it the Trey Turner rule because Trey had been traded and then had to stay with the same team for 4 more months. And they changed the rule, and I was the first guy dealt under that new rule. And then a week later, Dansby Swanson was dealt to from the Diamondbacks to the Braves. But yeah, it was insane. So that was really the turning point of my career right there. Is I went from a random 8th round pick that had a good rookie ball season. I think I gave up like 3 runs. I walked 1 guy or 2 guys my entire rookie ball stint. From a guy that was like, okay, he might be a prospect now, to like, okay, this guy's the real deal. And I went to San Diego right after that.
That's pretty cool. So let me ask you, so around that trade and you know, you get to another trade, you know, a little bit, you know, about a year later, I guess. You've always been a very optimistic guy. You've always been a very, you know, and it comes from your upbringing. We'll touch on that a little bit more around back to family. But, you know, on a trade, what was your thought process? What was going on? Like, you know, I've heard guys before like, oh man, the other club didn't like me, to, hey man, fresh start, this is great. You know, you just came off, you know, having a really good year. You know, what was your mindset about the trade?
Well, I was confused more than anything. Like the guy had called me as I'm driving. I was actually driving to Fort Myers because I was going to go train there with their staff and stuff for the off season. And I got a phone call in the barber shop next door to like where we were at. I was getting my haircut I got from the same guy in the season. And then he goes, "Hey, we just want to let you know that thank you for all you've done. You had a great year." And I'm like, "Oh, this is just them like give me a little pickup, like a little pump me up speech, and like, hey, thanks for going to the Dominican." I was like waiting for all that, and he goes, "But you've been involved in a big league trade, a major league trade." And I was like, all right, pick on the new guy. Like I was like, all right, cool. Like I hear about you guys pranking the new guys. I get it. He goes, "No, really, you've been traded. We want to thank you so much. You're going somewhere cool." I was like, "Well, am I going to like Miami, Atlanta? Am I going towards home?" Like, and he goes, "San Diego." And I was like, okay. I had nothing about
Even
Padres.
further.
I was like,
further
oh my
away.
gosh, I am. And then I called my mom, and the first thing she says, "What did you do? You did something wrong. What did you do?" Like she thought I got in trouble. And I was like, "No, this is a good thing." She's like, "Well, where are you going? You better be staying close to here." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Mom, I'm going to San Diego." Breaks down in tears. I mean, hysterical.
Oh, that's so
It was
awesome.
awful. And my dad's like, "Okay, that's cool." And I told him I got traded for Craig Kimbrell. My dad's like all excited. He's like, "That's awesome. That's something that's something that's on the timeline forever. It's not like a good game you had your rookie ball year. You got traded for Craig Kimbrell. That's pretty crazy."
Yeah.
And yeah, she's crying. And then Padres team called me, and it was just like one of those things where I'm like, okay, like this team needs to be rebuilt. They're going to build their minor league system around me and a few other guys. They obviously want me that bad enough, and they think highly enough of me if they're trading for me for somebody like that, especially this early in my career. So
right.
It was awesome, but it was a little scary at first. The next time I got traded, it was easy. I was on the plane before I could even. Yeah,
you already
done
easy,
that. So
I've done that one before. So really cool story. I know everybody's talked to you about the John Cena thing. So you get into the you're in the Padres system and you move pretty quickly there. You make your debut last year. How was that? How was it walking out onto the field? And well, let's back up a little bit. How was it when they made the call to say, "Hey, guess where you're going"?
It was pretty insane. I was not having a great year. I mean, I was having an okay year, but the year before that, I was Texas League Pitcher of the Year. I dominated. I felt really good about what I was doing. And then that year in El Paso, it's a pretty hitter-friendly league. I was leaving the ball up. I was getting beat around a little bit. I was making some changes in my delivery, and stuff started to finally click, and I'm getting excited. And then I'm in the stands charting this game. I'm like in my regular clothes, and my dad texted me. He said, "Hey, Padres game's in the 12th inning again." Like they had 2 or 3 games in a row where there was like 10 or 12 runs scored in the first 3 innings combined. Like it was just awful. And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's cool. I start tomorrow. I'm not going to go in and be a reliever." So, and then I look at my phone and I swipe to the next day's game, and there's no starter listed because we had no starter available. And I'm like, or 2 days from now, sorry. And I'm like, dang, Wednesday, Tuesday night in San Diego against the Brewers, that'd be a cool way to debut. Go back in the clubhouse. I'm giving my my chart to the head coach, to the manager. The manager. And I didn't say anything. I just gave him the chart. I walked back in the locker room, and I do my chart good. It's right every time. I don't have any mistakes. And I hear, "Hey, get your ass back in here." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, you messed up the chart." And he goes, "Sit down, fix it." And I'm like looking to find. I was like, "What's wrong?" He goes, "I just wanted you to get a look at your last chart." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Because you're not going to do this anymore. You're going to the big leagues." And he goes, "You're starting Tuesday, or you're going to the big leagues." And I'm like, "No way!" Like the whole coaching staff's right there, freaking out.
That's cool.
And then it was awesome. And then I walk out of the room, and I go back into our locker room, and I get sprayed with champagne bottles from our other AAA guys.
Oh,
that was
cool.
pretty cool.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
It was insane. And then the next, I packed all night. I couldn't sleep. By the time I finally got to sleep, I had to wake up and get my ass to the airport. And I got to the airport around probably 8 a.m. My flight was at 11. I didn't want to miss it. I was just like, if I miss my flight, like I've heard horror stories. So direct from El Paso to San Diego, landed in San Diego, went right to the field, went right to the hotel and then the field. I wasn't added to the roster yet, so I can only hang out. I could throw before 2 o'clock, and I could hang out in the locker room and just seeing everybody and all that kind of stuff. Now, the hard part is there's someone in that locker room that doesn't know it yet, but they're getting DFA'd. They're getting taken off the 40-man roster, or they're getting 60-dayed. Somebody is. So that's the part where you have to kind of be respectful when you come in. You don't make a big deal out of it. You go in, you get your work in, you go home. The following day is your day. So. Obviously my debut day, whole family was able to come to town. It was unbelievable. But my first phone call, besides my mom, when I got done, was I received a phone call from Cena. And when I was in El Paso, he said, "Hey man, congratulations. See you on Tuesday." Hangs up. Nothing else. Just before I could even say anything. And I was like, "Yo, that's weird." Well, apparently, I forgot about that. His best friend in the whole world was our left-handed, our batting practice thrower now. He's a lefty. He threw batting practice for us. I helped him get the job. I forgot he was there. So he had the news before I did. So Cena knew before I even knew at the time. So that was awesome. But yeah, game days around, I'm walking the city kind of, getting food and whatever, trying to just have like a normal game day. And I'm getting recognized. I'm getting stopped for pictures because people didn't know I was debuting yet. So it was like announced that morning, but like people really didn't know. So that part was pretty cool. But I get to the field that day, like media's everywhere. My locker's all set up, all that stuff. I was number 54, which was the same number John Cena had when he played football. So they kind of did that as like a little tribute to him type deal. And then after that, it's kind of a blur. I remember nothing about my routine. I remember nothing about the scouting report. All I know is they had their 3-hole hitter was really, really good. And MVP good. And it was just like, hey, if you want to leave a ball up, don't leave it up to this guy, kind of thing. So the lineup was Lorenzo Cain, Yelich, Braun, Eric Thames, all those big gentlemen.
They had a good one.
Yeah, it was a pretty good lineup, and they were leading their division, so it was kind of like, oh wow, like this is a real test. This isn't like I get to go in and play the Orioles. No offense to them, but this isn't
they didn't have a good year, right?
Strong team. Yeah, it's a strong team. So I'm jogging out for my first inning, and like I didn't know if I was gonna poop my pants, throw up, if I was gonna trip, and not to mention I tripped on the top step jogging out of the dugout. Like I was one of those guys.
Right.
And I'm like, oh God.
It's not exactly comfortable.
No, it's not. It's not comfortable at all. And there's a camera.
Not that I know, but I don't think I would
2 feet from me. No,
Right.
I was the most uncomfortable I've ever been. I've been the most excited I've ever been. There was a camera 2 feet from me. And I'm just like, I don't know this is something's gotta give. Like I gotta calm down here. As soon as I threw the first pitch, I don't remember if it was a ball or a strike, but everything just went like everything calmed down.
Good.
And then the next thing
You
I
threw
know,
the ball great.
I went 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, struck out 5, walked 2.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I watched the pitch.
And I got a knock, so that was cool.
Yeah.
That
I was gonna bring that up.
That was my favorite. That was one of my favorite parts. I mean, I'm facing. It was awesome. I just didn't know what to think. I mean, my second pitch in the show was a base hit.
Yes.
So like Lorenzo Cain absolutely ropes one to left center, and I'm like, oh God, like. And then I wind up getting out of the inning unscathed, no problem. Got Yelich out, got everybody out, and then after that, it was smooth sailing to the 6th inning. And then I started walking a couple guys, gave up a hit, and then unbelievable double play by Tatis to get me out of the inning. But at that point, it was scoreless. It was a tie game till probably the 5th. I think it was my second at bat. It was wild.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. First big league strikeout was Jesus Aguilar with the same agent, so that was pretty awesome. It was an unreal experience, man. I haven't had more adrenaline than that in a long time. I was throwing 95, 97, which I hadn't done ever at that point. Like in a game, I hadn't done that in a game that mattered like that at any time. And then Brandon Woodruff was the pitcher for them, who at that point was 11-2 with like a 2.
Right.
And he throws a billion, and he can make it move wherever he wants. That guy's unbelievable. And I took 98 on the hands and put it in right field, and that was something that I'll never forget. I hit it, and I was like one of those like, holy cow, I hit it. Like, now here's the part that no one knows is like when I'm at the plate, all I'm thinking about is trying to yank this ball like a foul down the left field foul line. Like I'm trying to pull it. I tried. I thought I swung before he even let go of it, and it went to right field. Like I wasn't even close. Now I've had success hitting. I hit really well in AAA. I always got my bunts down. I swung it really well, but it was different when it's 98 coming exactly where it needs to go and your major league debut. You don't want to look stupid. So that part was cool. But then me having the base run, I think, was more like the embarrassing moment of my career. On third base, bases are loaded. There's one out. And Hosmer hits a line drive to third base, and Moustakas dives and catches it. And I'm halfway down the line.
Yeah.
So luckily Moose wasn't looking. He just tries to throw the guy out at first, like double up the guy at first, and damn near throws it in the stands. So I was able to tag up and then go.
I remember that.
Home. So that was to me was like insane. Like I was bailed out. Like that could have been like the laughing stock of a debut. Like I get doubled up at third, what would have been the first run of the game.
Right.
Everything worked out well that day, man. It was unbelievable. Parents were there. Cena was obviously there. He made a big deal out of him being there, and it was good for him to make up for what he said he was going to do, be a man of his word. So that was cool. But after that night, it was kind of like, okay, fun's over. Now you gotta. It's harder to get there, but it's even harder to stay in the big leagues, man. It's insane.
Right. So Jeff, I know I remember that debut very well, and I know you do as well. I know we've talked about it before. What do you remember about Logan as a pitcher, and up until this point, what can you say about Logan since he told a story on you?
No, Logan was one of the best guys we ever had. No doubt. I mean, shoot, did you ever lose?
That's the thing. I don't know that he ever did lose.
He was a team guy too, because I remember a couple times. Well, his senior year it was your senior year in Jupiter. I get the years mixed up. You won Jupiter twice, right?
How many times did we win Jupiter?
Well, we won it 3 years in a row, but I feel like you were part of 2 of those.
He was part of.
I think I was just part of the 2 because we won both Atlanta.
No, I know you weren't. I know you weren't part of 3.
I won 2 of them with you guys.
Yeah, you were part of 2. You were part of 2. You pitched up one year and we won, and then our senior year, you were probably.
Who was it again? It was against the Scorps, wasn't it, in the championship?
Your first year, yes. No, we beat them. We beat them in the semifinal. Grant Holmes pitched.
Yes.
And then we beat the Burn, and then the next year we beat the
Scorps in the championship.
Like really bad.
Like really bad.
But I remember coming to you your senior year in Jupiter, and I was like, hey, man, we're going to bring you out of the pen in Jupiter just because we want you to have the ball at the end of the game or in tight spots, and we're not going to start you or spot start you in pool play. And you didn't get mad at all. You were like, whatever it takes to win. And it was a compliment to you. We just wanted to have – and you actually came in a bases loaded jam, nobody out, against that Blue Jays scout team, and we called the time pick, and you picked that guy off at second base. That we get one out, and then you get a double play, and we get out of the inning, and we ended up winning that game. And then you started the semifinal and got us in the championship.
That was wild. I missed that, but that baseball was so fun, man. It was unbelievable how much fun we had. I gotta
Yeah.
find it. I know I have it in here somewhere. I was trying to think of. It was like the last out of the game was when we had that. It was the Blue Jay scout team, whatever it was. Dude, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad team, and you guys, and I think I've said this, and we've all said this, is that's probably one of our winningest teams because starting at 15 and 16, they're winning everything.
And not the most talented team.
No, they just got together.
It's a pretty good team right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Yeah,
My
God.
good time, man.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
always
gosh!
knew-
You know
I
who
always
else
knew
is with the? Did you know? Nick Enright's also with the Indians too. I forgot about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got
okay.
to meet Nick. He came up to me. I
Okay.
was like, "Yo, no way!" He was with us from Virginia Tech, so that was another
Yeah.
big thing.
He
That
pitched a
happened.
really big game that year. Remember?
I do remember he pitched a huge
Playoffs.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was incredible, man. Guy's legit, so legit.
That's cool. It's neat. The one
Good
thing I can
times.
say. Oh, there they go with the camo.
I miss those jeans were my favorite by far. My favorite
The
jeans
camo
you guys
ones?
had. The black and white camo. I love the all gray when Evo Shield first did them. The ones I didn't like, the black. I didn't like the black because it was 1,000,000,000 degrees, and you're like, "Let's wear the all black."
Yeah, it's tough. Black and 100 degrees is not fun.
Well, Evo Shield also wanted us to wear certain things, and that's fine. But God, it was hot.
Yeah,
Oh, it was
absolutely. So Logan, let's talk about your trade to the Indians, man. So how did that go about? You just broke that on Bauer's was it Momentum TV or
Yeah,
whatever?
watch Momentum. I don't know. I mean,
talk about that.
One day I'm watching. I'm still in San Diego. I was in the big league. It was almost 2 months at this point, and I'm watching Bauer throw a ball over the center field wall for whatever reason. And love TV's awesome, but you just watch him launch a ball over the center field wall. And I'm like, wow, that's tough. It's crazy. And then I'm continuing to pitch out of the bullpen with San Diego. I'm not throwing all that well. I think my last memory, I was Bellinger's 30th home run, my first time as a reliever, on July 4th at Dodger Stadium, sold out crowd. Bellinger takes me yah.
It's not personal.
then-
He takes a lot of guys. Yeah.
Oh, that was the good part. If it was like somebody's first home run of the season, I'm like, wow, I suck. But that guy was pretty good.
Yeah, he's okay.
I blew 2 fastballs by him, and then he took a slider and hit it 1,000,000,000 feet. So throw your heater, kids. Throw the heater, kids. Don't throw a slider. Attack. Don't throw soft stuff. So then the next thing after that was I was in extra innings. I'd thrown 3 out of 4 days with the Padres. Like, I was really grinding. I was doing anything I could to help the team. I went in the 11th inning and got 2 guys out, and then Sandoval hit a ball at his eyes in the first row in left field. And it was just like one of those, like, man, can this get any worse for me right now? I was in like just a little funk. Then the next day they bring me in the office and they say, hey, we need arms. We're going to option you, but you're going to come back here in whatever, 10 days, I think it's the rule, or was the rule. You're going to come back here in 10 days, start against this team, pack light. So I left everything in my San Diego apartment like I was supposed to, get on a plane. I meet the AAA team in Nashville. El Paso was in Nashville. I land, I go to the field, and on TV it says I've been traded. I didn't hear a thing from the Padres, not a word.
Wow.
So I'm calling like my parents. I got a phone call from Clevenger, Lindor, Brad Hand, Jose Ramirez, guys that I had known from around the league, saying, hey, congrats, welcome to the squad. And I'm like, dude, I haven't heard anything. This is all fake. This is a joke. It's not real. And still nothing from the Padres after the game. I couldn't go in the dugout because fans were mauling me about the trade and all that. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. So I had to sit in the clubhouse. I packed my stuff up because I'm like, if this is on ESPN, this is real. Well, Puig had gotten in the brawl with Amir Garrett that night. It was that big brawl where Amir Garrett, which I hope he'll get to listen to this. I love Amir, but he decided to be super, super strong guy and take on the entire team
In front of their dugout.
in front of their dugout. Like, he was excited to give the ball to the manager just so he could go over to the dugout and try to beat somebody up.
Puig rubbed somebody wrong? Shocked.
I got the stories about him we can talk about off camera. That's
There you go.
pretty insane. Playing with him was nuts. He's a great guy. He's a good person, but definitely rubs people the wrong way sometimes. But I think that's a tribute to how good of a player he thinks he is and how good of a player he is. But that being said, they got in the brawl. So the trade hadn't been finalized because they wanted to make sure Puig didn't get hurt.
Right.
So I'm sitting there at my hotel in Nashville, angry because if I'm traded, I have to get someone to go pack up my apartment in San Diego. Then I have to ship my vehicle out, find a new place to live. I don't know if I'm going to be in the big leagues, AAA, both, whatever. And I get a call from the Indians saying, "Hey, this is going to go through. Like, you're the guy we asked for, so we won't settle without you. So you might as well go to the airport and get on the flight and come to Cleveland." I heard from our general manager with San Diego as I was getting on the plane to go to Cleveland, saying that I had been traded. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm aware. Like, so that was crazy. But then I got to know Trevor a lot through Mike Clevenger and cool other guys with the Indians. So he's doing his watch momentum thing, and we talked about the other day, like, well, one of the big reasons that I was probably traded to Cleveland was because he decided to throw a temper tantrum and long toss with the batter's eye in center. Like, that was one of the big reasons that I had been flopped. And it's not because they thought he was bad, but obviously he was very expensive, and the Indians are a very low market team. And, you know, that was kind of the last straw for them. They weren't going to be able to afford him, so they wanted to, you know, find a way to trade him. And they traded for me. So that one, it was exciting. Still wanting to be wanted. They saw something in me analytically and mechanically and developmentally that, you know, that I didn't know I had in me at the time. And, you know, it just showed how much they care about real pitching and not me having a little hard time in the big leagues, because that does happen to a lot of people.
Yeah. Pretty interesting too for you. You know, it came at a point where you're probably at one of your lowest points as a professional because you've always had so much success. You know, you get up there, as you mentioned, you give up, you know, Bellingers, which, again, no big deal. Everybody, you know, 29 other guys have given up to Bellinger. But, you know, the guy's first of the year probably grates at you a little bit and makes you, you know, it kind of chips away at your positive attitude that you always have.
It's tough, and you got to be the same guy every day in the clubhouse too. That's a difficult thing, and a lot of guys, even with the Canes, didn't really realize that now. And Jeff would get on us on occasion. You can tell the guy that went 3 for 3 that day and the day before versus the guy that went 0 for 3 and then shows up to the field like he doesn't want to play the next day. Like, that was probably the hardest part for me, and just staying positive and understanding that you gotta get out of the funk. Man, I'd never experienced failure ever. I mean, you have your games, you have losses in the minor leagues, you have your bad games, but consistently me getting my butt handed to me was awful.
Sure. I'm sure it is. You know, I mean, it is every day. I mean, we experience it from time to time. I'm sure at the highest level, it makes it even harder, kind of question yourself a little bit. You know, you get into the Indians and you know, the development of you, of what they saw in you, you know, starts to take place pretty quickly. You know, you made some changes, you know, here and there mechanically. Can you talk about those for a little bit? Just kind of some of the, I guess, you know, 5,000-foot overview of what you were doing.
Yeah, so they saw some things in my lower half I wasn't doing properly. They have all the technology in the world to, you know, figure out what they were doing, to figure out what's the best and most efficient way to create velocity, create spin, create efficiency, create a consistent release point in which you can control the baseball. So they went through with some drills with me and things that'll help put me in better positions. I started doing that. My velo immediately started to go up. My control was getting better, and it sucked at first because it's uncomfortable. But you know, I started to see analytically Rapsodo, TrackMan, whatever everybody uses nowadays. It shows how much your vertical ride is. And, you know, I was throwing baseballs that had the perception of then rising 23 to 25 inches on my fastball. So obviously, if you're throwing that waist high and above, that's very hard to hit. A heater that looks like it's down the middle and winds up being at the top of the zone, like, one, they swing at it. Two, it's impossible to square up. And if they do, it's not going anywhere. It's just one of those like things that they learned about me that I'm able to change my pitch profile. So instead of me trying to go bottom quadrant to the zone, throw a change up, flip in a breaking ball, now it's high heater, breaking ball off the heat. It looks like the heater, and I'm just punching guys out. So their mechanical changes have been really good. Their program's incredible. I can't say enough about them. But that change was good and bad. It was tough that I had to wait until I was in the big leagues to make development changes. That's what the minor leagues are for. But it was good that I had a team that knew so much about this to help further my career. And it helps. I'm still only 22.
You're a young buck.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's neat. It's neat to see those little tweaks here and there that increase velocity, change your pitch profile, do all those things. It's going to be great for your career. We're really looking forward to following you. I know we've had a lot of guys that have made their MLB debuts and things like that, and it's just amazing, how many people inside of our organization are following you. All the impressions that you've made on people. And just listening to you. I mean, it's all about relationships. I mean, that's the cool part in this is that, it really is about relationships with you. And I think, for me, at least from observing from afar, that comes from home. Can you talk a little bit about your family and the support and what that means to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously relationships are big for me. My only thing I can say on that is when baseball is over, if you treated people like crap or, didn't build the relationships that I've built, you're kind of, baseball can be lonely. The game of baseball doesn't wait for anybody. Once you're retired, once the jersey's ripped off you, what do you have? So that's a big thing for me when it comes to the relationships that I've grown with you guys, with baseball players, coaches, managers, all that kind of stuff. But family at home, I have a very wild and crazy, loving mother that I think everybody knows. She was like the unofficial team mom for me with most of the teams I've played for. She was always there. That part was awesome. My dad played in the NHL. So he was a big, angry hockey guy. So he was very, very serious all the time and very supportive and hard on me when it came to sports, which kind of molded me into who I was today as a competitor. So that's awesome. I have two brothers. I have a little brother who's 18 now, and he is as tall as Jeff, if not taller now. He's huge, Jeff. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
He was
I haven't seen
tiny
him
last time. He's bigger than me. So he's got a couple inches on me, which is insane. And then I have a handicapped brother, Philip, who's been a real motivation for me growing up. He's 32, so he's a big boy. But he's kind of the reason I have that motivation from home. I've learned from home to really appreciate the game of baseball. A lot of people can't do this for a living and or do it in high school or college or little league, whatever. So that instilled me at a young age that playing the game of baseball is not it's not a must. It's a gift. It's not just handed to you. It shouldn't be something you take for granted. You have to really understand it's a gift. You're able to play baseball. The fact that I was able to play it for one day for a living is unbelievable.
No doubt.
It's so there's two things that I look forward to when I see you on social media. And one is lighthearted and one is just totally serious. Lighthearted, I joke around about your camera eats first, your phone eats first. You're taking pictures of all of your food. But my favorite, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, is seeing you with your brother. That just, to me, cements who you are. That's how I see you, of the love and the care that you have for him. It really means a lot to me.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know how much you like food, so that's the second reason. That's the other reason you like.
Right.
Looking at the phone eats first, but yeah, Philip's a superstar. I mean, obviously, I love having him over social media. The relationship's the exact same at home as it is on social media, which a lot of people don't really know. You guys know that, like the people of the real world, the people that follow me and stuff don't know how our relationship is at home, and it's the exact same. So, like I said, I appreciate that. He's awesome. He's a huge motivator, and obviously, I do have a little bit of fun besides that on social media too. So that's a good thing.
Well, you have a pig too, right? Do you guys still have the pig?
Hey, we got two of them. We got two of them still. We got one that's 8, one that's 12 or 10. Oh, wait, no. 7 and 10, 7 and 12, 8 and 12, whatever. I got Rocky and Rambo. My parents are still psychotic for getting pigs, but I'm all about it. Rocky is our smaller of the two. He's the younger one. He is so well trained. It's unbelievable. It's literally like a service pig. He does whatever we ask. Unless there's food around. But I mean, you wake up in the morning and go downstairs and you hear this little grunt thing grunting at your feet, wanting some attention. So it's insane. It really is. Like when you think about having a little pig running around the house, it's literally that. When it has to go to the bathroom, it goes and snorts at the door. I mean, it's absurd. Wow. My mom, I'm lucky it's a boy though, because it's insane. If it was a girl pig, my mom would have it dressed up, nailed,
absolutely,
hooves painted, bows in its hair or whatever. I mean, it really is awesome. It's pretty much a spoiled dog. It's absurd. I didn't think it was ever going to get to this point. I thought we would get so tired of it. I don't want to say this, PETA, don't come after me, but I thought we were going to get so tired of it that it would eventually be a slight breakfast one day. But no, it's they're going strong. So I'm impressed that we've had them for that long.
You know, one of my best memories of Mama A was I think it was your junior year when we were in Jupiter. I think I drove to pick you up, me and Batch maybe, or me and somebody.
Yeah, you and Batch drove to pick me up at IMG.
Yeah. So drive to pick you up. We bring in. I got the lecture from your mom on the phone of making sure I take care of you and all that, which is cool. That's fine. I get it. We get you there, and then I think she came later. And she said that she had to dress up somebody's dog or something like that. Maybe your grandmother or something.
My grandmother.
Like
my Mimi. My Mimi has a wiener dog named Kathy. Has organic, you can't make it up. It's organic food, has a pink stroller, has her own handmade home jewelry, like necklace and stuff she wears around, bows, dresses. And I don't mean like she buys them from Walmart or something. I mean like she makes them. She was like, they owned a bridal salon, so she was making like little dresses for a wiener dog. I'll never forget them trying to come to watch me play and all that. And then we're going to get food. And they show up to the Canes game with a wiener dog in a bright pink stroller like it was a baby.
I'm sure nobody said anything to you.
Oh my God. I still have marks on my back from all the comments you guys decided to make. I have the bruises never went away. And then after the game, we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go eat. I'm like, oh, they're gonna take the dog home. They're like, oh no, the dog's there. They're at Outback. We're at Outback, and the dog, she's got a fake service dog, a fake service dog thing, so that Outback had to let the dog stroller at the table. The dog's sitting with 2 paws on the table, and my grandparents are giving him that brown bread. You know what I'm talking about? That
that's
whatever bread it is.
That's solid bread.
Solid bread. But they're giving pieces of it to the dog, and then they order a petite filet rare and start giving pieces to the dog. Grandma, I hope you see this. You're a psychopath.
Some people can just roll like that, you know.
So your mom was all about it too.
Feed your dog a fillet. And people.
Oh,
right.
You know what? I don't ever think I could imagine taking a dog and putting it in a stroller and thinking
Don't
that's
ever do that. Don't ever do that. I'll have to take your man card.
It's a bad
take the camera and beat you over the head with it.
Yeah, no doubt. It's okay. I'd love to see you pushing your baby stroller. Oh my gosh. You're lucky. Oh.
It's going to be you one day, bud.
We got a while for that there. We got a while for that.
Yeah, maybe not. We'll see. Focus on baseball career.
I'm all about that. But when it happens, it happens. Let's just hope it's after 10 years in the show and a lot of money. Let's do that, huh?
There you go. There you go.
Let's bank on that in the future. But for now, I'm going to continue to focus on golf.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like where your head's at.
Absolutely. So, I touched on the family part because I know how much that means to you, not just us as far as the Canes family, but, your immediate family. Talk about the motivation behind your foundation. Talk about that a little bit. I know you're getting that off the ground now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it off the ground with some close friends that I play with, and some best friends from high school. One of them is Isaac Nada, tight end with the Lions. He's been very supportive of my career, and it's been there for me from the beginning. So, obviously, Philip means a lot to me. So, I wanted to start an organization and a foundation where we have events every year, and T-shirts and stuff like that to go through supporting whatever cause. So ours is going to be called What Handicap, and the P is a Superman logo with a letter P in it, for Philip.
Cool.
So it's going to be targeted towards special needs children and Miracle League and things like that, as well as families that have in-home healthcare with handicapped children, handicapped adults. My family, we have 24-hour nursing at home, 7 days a week. Every year they're like family to us because they take care of Philip and keep Philip safe. So that is something that means the world to me. That is something that I can really make an impact on. And
Awesome.
it just motivates you because me being able to do the Miracle League things away from Philip makes you feel like you're at home. It makes you feel a part of something. You're not really able to do that. I'm not able to be home. He can't leave the state, so he can't come watch me play and things like that. So me being able to do these things in certain cities, in Cleveland, San Diego, be able to, even if it's just an appearance at somewhere where there's a handicapped child or adult that wants to just spend some time together, like being able to do things like that really puts your career in perspective, because you're not only making an impact on the field, you're not only making an impact with your ERA or whatever, you're making an impact on families with off the field that could change their life forever. I mean, you never know. I mean, whatever money I raise and stuff like that for years for families and stuff, that Miracle League's field could have been in debt. They could be falling apart. I mean, this family could not be able to afford health care. It's expensive for the supplies and things like that, and insurance doesn't cover everything. That $500, that $5,000, the $10,000, whatever it is that, I'll be giving to these families can really turn somebody's life around. It could really, and it could bring awareness to that family for other people. So, it's something I believe in. It's something I'll truly be able to, to take pride in when my career is over, as well as doing it now.
It's awesome.
Cool. Very cool. And, I think it goes without saying, as that evolves and as you get that off the ground, I'd certainly love to help out. So when you do, make sure you let us know. I know you have a great platform, being a professional athlete, but we want to help out too. So, as much as we can help promote that.
Canes banner and stuff at my events and things like that. That would be awesome. I mean, you guys
we'll do it, man.
You guys are a huge part of where I'm from. So that would be huge. And obviously there's never any bad promotion by the Canes except for, you guys whipping some tail and, daddy's getting mad at his son for not winning, but that's about it when it comes to publicity on the Canes. So,
dude, you know what? We have watched a lot of debuts. More and more of our guys are debuting. I know Jeff is, really proud of everybody that makes it. And I really just want to tell you that I'm proud of you, and I'm proud to have coached you. I'm proud to consider you a friend because of the type of person you are. It's obvious just in this time we spent together here. I'm hoping that all of our viewers and listeners can understand the type of person you are. At least get some gauge of the depth that you have, because there's a lot there, and everything I've seen is all good, even in your humor and egging LT on to throw stuff at Rob and Jeff. That's all good natured fun, and that's what I see in you. And I see so many good things that come from you, no matter where you are in the world. And it's wonderful to have been just a small part of that. And to be, to be able to watch you on the big screen and see you do great things, we expect a lot out of you. We expect you to go and do great things because we know what you're capable of. And, I just want to thank you, obviously, for spending this time with us, but also for, trusting me as your coach at 16 and, moving on up to Jeff and doing big things there. So, I think the world of you, bud.
I appreciate that. I think the world of you guys too. And like I said, I wouldn't be where I am without you both today. I mean, I was in really good hands back then, and you guys have put me into really good hands now. And I obviously wouldn't be where I am now without the Canes. As much as you want to believe that, as much as you want to believe you would have made these opportunities on your own, it doesn't happen that way. And hopefully the viewers understand that they're not with the Canes for one tournament. They're not with the Canes to be guaranteed a spot in college or getting recruited and things like that. It's more than about it's way more than just being recruited and finding a way to get drafted. It's more of a family, and you see that the longer they spend with the Canes, the more they see that.
No doubt. Well, I piggyback off everything he just said, man. We love you, and we expect you to do big things, and we want you. You're the kind of guy that people that know you like we do, we want to see you succeed. Like that's what we want for you. I mean, you deserve to have success for multiple reasons. So it's we appreciate the friendship, and we're definitely gonna follow you, and we know big things are coming, even bigger things than you've already had. It's been a nice ride.
Let's hope so. It's been a nice ride so far. Now I just got to finish the journey. So
that's right.
It's been awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. Well, stay safe. Just be prepared when the lights come back on, and we look forward to seeing you in Cleveland, buddy. Thanks for everything, Logan, and we will have you back on maybe as the season gets a little closer.
Yeah, we'll do it again anytime you guys want. You guys are the best. Love you guys. We'll holler at you soon.
You. Take care.
Later, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Wow, what a great episode. Big shout out to Logan for joining us. Give him a follow on social media at Logan_Allen. But remember that on his Instagram, his phone eats first, so you're going to get a lot of meals. You can check out his interview with Trevor Bauer on their Twitter account, watch_momentum. It'll have a link directly to the interview. If you enjoyed this episode, do us a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, review, and share. Give us a follow on social media at CaneCast Show. You can reach out to me directly on social media channels at Rob Younce or email me at robyounce@gmail.com. You can find Jeff Petty on social media channels at WJeffPetty. We welcome your feedback as we look to improve the show every single episode. And until the next time, stay safe, wash your hands, and find yourself a travel ball organization that treats you like family, not a number.